Hey everybody, welcome to Teacher Talks. I am Dr. Christopher Holmes, and I just wanted to get on here tonight to share a little bit more with you about story time, or with the story time, um, entitled "Why I Became a Teacher." Why did I get involved in education? So it is 9:08. So hopefully the kids are down. It is time for the adults to catch up. So I'm going to tell my story on why I became a teacher, but I want you to think about why you decided to do whatever it is that you do. And if you're not a teacher, let's talk about it. If you are a teacher, I want to hear from you as well. Tell me, why did you become a teacher? Um, and why are you likely still in the field? What's keeping you there? And I may ask somebody to join me if you guys have a good conversation. I may jump in and get somebody to come in and join us. But I'll kind of tell my story, and then maybe it will lead you to want to share as well. So I'm not going to hold you long tonight. I am actually on vacation. It is my wife's and my daughter's birthday coming up this weekend, so I am out of town. So this is not my usual backdrop, as you can see. But I tried to do something that was conducive, but we're actually at the beach, and so we're going to try to enjoy ourselves for the next few days. So I am from a small town, and you guys, if you have been watching this, you know I have my mother on, and so we kind of talked about where I'm from slightly, but um, I've always been a good student. Okay, let's start there. Okay, I'm not a slacker. I've been a good student. I've always made good grades. I've done well in school. Okay, elementary all the way through high school. All A student. I was number three in my class. If Kendrick Cherokees, shout out to you guys. Always fam. But um, I never struggled. I did my homework in class. I made great grades on tests. I just was never a bad student. I always did well. And so school had always been easy. And then I went to college. I talked before that, about wanting to be a pre-dental student, but let's backtrack a little bit because I kind of skipped a little bit about what that looked like entering into post-secondary learning. So I graduated number three in my class. Now, if you're number three, I have like a 4.1 GPA. So what does that say? Okay, if you have a 4.1 GPA, I see. Hey, Catherine, I see you on here. Hey, Letitia. If you got a 4.1 GPA going into college out of high school, what would you think about what kind of college student you're going to be, or how successful you're going to be as you navigate through this transition? Okay, probably thinking 4.1 in high school, college should be pretty easy, right? So did I. I was like, I'm going to get in college. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to do it. It's going to be easy. I'm going to ace my test. I'm going to go through 4 years, maybe even three. Get out, move on with my life, go be an orthodontist, right? That's what I'm thinking. Was not the case at all. So I went to Mercer University in Macon, Georgia. Shout out, go Bears. So let's just start. I enter. Hey, Miss Patterson. I see you. Thank you for joining. Everybody out there, thank you for joining. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that like, thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, and make sure you share this with somebody. Share this with your friends. Share this with your colleagues. Share this with your mother. Share this with your daddy. Share it with your kids if you have to. Okay. So I go to college. Freshman year, I'm excited. I'm ready. First of all, I'm ready to leave home. Ready to leave home. Right. Like I'm over. I've been home 13 years in school. Ready to go to college. And I start classes. Classes seem to be going pretty well the first 2 weeks. Okay, first 2 weeks, you're basically getting to know everybody. Teachers kind of instructing a little bit. Hey, Barnhill, I see you, Barnhill. Thank you for watching. Um, so, and then we start getting into like real assignments. So, in my English class, we write our first paper. I can write a paper. I've been writing 5-paragraph essays since ninth grade, right? This is going to be easy. Type that paper up, done. And then I'm sitting in my biology class, and we're talking about like science stuff. Thinking, okay, I aced biology in high school. I aced chemistry. I even took physics, right? This should be great. And I'm sitting in class, science class, and I'm like, I don't know what in the crap this professor is talking about. Mind you, I have classmates that are sitting next to me answering all the questions. Like they're like ready. They have the answers. They know what the professor's talking about. I'm sitting there clueless. I'm thinking, come on, I got a 4.1. I got a 4.1 GPA coming into this piece. I should be acing this, but I'm not. I take the first science test. I think I make a C. I think I make a C. I write my first English paper, and there's not a grade on the paper. There's a note. Anybody that's had an assignment that was supposed to be graded and there is no grade, but there is a note to you from the teacher, you know what that means, right? That means there's an issue. That means this is so bad, I can't even put a grade on it. I need to talk to you about what I have read or what I'm looking at, because if I had to grade it, it would probably be a 0 or something really low that you don't want. So let's backtrack to the paper. I don't want to talk about the science test. Let's talk about the paper. So on this paper, I scheduled an appointment with my professor, and she says, "Who taught you to write?" What do you mean, who taught me to write? My teacher taught me to write, lady. What are you talking about? And I go on to talk about my style of writing. It's a 5-paragraph essay. I give my introduction, where I talk about what 3 points I'm going to discuss. I give my 3 points in the body, and then I wrap that thing up in the conclusion, right? 5-paragraph essay. She says, "No, that's not how we write." What are you talking about? You must be a bad professor. Everybody knows when you write a paper, it's a 5-paragraph essay, right? She's like, that's not what I'm looking for. So I was like, well, what are you looking for? She's like, I'm looking for a flow of thoughts where you introduce a topic or an idea and you discuss that topic throughout the body. And it may not be in 3 paragraphs. It may be 6 paragraphs, 7 paragraphs. And then when you finish the thought, then you give me a conclusion, right? Thinking, what are you talking about? 4, 5, 6 things in the body and not 3? She's like, I don't want you to get stuck on the 3. Throw that away. Don't worry about the 3. Introduce it and have a flow of thought and then conclude it. I'm like, okay, I think I can do that. So then I rework that. Now, let me tell you, I have been writing this way forever. So I was not comfortable with just this flow of thought as she talked about. So, but I adjusted. So then the science, man, my first time science test was horrible. I mean, I studied. I had a group of friends that I studied with. Shout out to my friends, Dr. Durham, Dr. Jackson. We studied together. We burned the library every night. Every night. We studied so much. But here I am, an A student coming out of high school. I'm struggling. I mean, I'm like, I've never seen this information before, ever. I take the test. I think I make a C. I was devastated. Hey, Miss Jackson, I see you. I make a C. I'm devastated. And so I had to meet with the professor because I was like, I was an A student in high school. I don't understand why I'm struggling in this class. Like, I don't understand what you're talking about at all. Like, I am totally lost. And that brings me to why I became a teacher. I had great teachers that I liked in elementary and middle and high school. I loved them. They were wonderful to me. From Miss Gorley, who I had in kindergarten, to Miss Gillenwater, who I had in 5th grade. Wonderful teachers, loving people. They loved me. They cared about me. In high school, same thing. Wonderful teachers. But I can tell you, as nice as they were and as wonderful as they were to me, I cannot say that I was prepared for college. I wasn't. I struggled my first year, because I was like reteaching. Well, not even reteaching. I was teaching myself. I should have been reteaching, but I wasn't. I was learning a lot of information for the first time. And I realized what I had gotten was basically surface level information, but there was no depth to what I got. And I was like, as much as they care for me, as much as they love me, how could you do that to me? When I have other classmates that are in here and they know everything they should know, they were well prepared for college, super well prepared. I wasn't, and so I really, really, really was hurt by that because I'm thinking there's no way I'm an A student, and I realized I came to college with a 4.1 GPA, and I thought I was an A student, but technically I was not an A student. I was an A student on paper, but what I should have known, it didn't translate into an A. I was really more like a C, B minus maybe, because everything that I was doing was like memorization or like worksheets. I had to do a worksheet like nobody's business, and I realized the worksheets were basically recall. It was like the same information in the book. If you could read, you could answer the worksheet, but that didn't tell me how smart I was. It just told me how well I could read and copy information from a book onto a handout. That's all they told me. But I wasn't actually thinking. And that's what college wanted me to do. It wanted me to think. I had never been a free thinker. And so I had vowed when I had the opportunity to teach that I would never let another child leave my classroom without having the depth of knowledge, the depth of understanding, and having really, really become a thinker. That was my ultimate goal for becoming a teacher. I didn't want anybody to experience what I experienced if they chose to go to college. If you're going to college, I really want you to be what we call college ready. We've done the work in high school. I've challenged you. I've expanded your mind. I've forced you to think differently, to have some experiences you've never had. And when you go to college, you will be prepared to be that type of learner, that type of thinker, and independent. Because it's not spoon fed to you, right? Anybody go to college? If you've been to college, you understand what I'm saying. They don't spoon food. They don't spoon feed you. They give you the information and they say, okay, let's see what you're gonna do with it. And then after 2 or 3 weeks, then it's time for a test. I hope you got it. If you didn't, we'll find out when you take this test and you pass or you don't pass. If you don't pass, we'll just keep trucking along. You may want to think about withdrawal, dropping the class, or you can hang out in here and see if you can pass it at the end. It's up to you, right? And so, to all of my educators out there, I encourage you, man, make sure your kids are getting exactly what you've been called to give them. Don't, if you love them, there's nothing wrong with loving them. There's nothing wrong with being nice to them. But not giving them what they need and teaching them the depth of information that they should have is doing them a disservice. Because if they go to college, they will not be ready. They won't be ready. My friend, Miss Fickling, says, I think that was my issue my freshman year, but I never have been able to articulate it. This is spot on. I'm telling you. And I don't want to say this, okay? I don't want to say this, but I will say this because this is what I feel to be true. I went to a majority African American school. I had some white teachers that were loving, but I think they were loving to a fault, where they really wanted to get me out and into college, but had not placed the focus on ensuring that I was being challenged as a student, right? So, I don't see this just with white teachers. I see this with black teachers too. When you deal with kids who go to black schools and sometimes impoverished school, there is a certain level of sympathy for the child. They don't need you to sympathize with them. They don't need you to feel sorry for them. They need you to push them. They need you to challenge them. Because if you want them to go on and be successful, push them. Trust me, they can do it. They can do it. If you challenge them. If you don't challenge them, they will do just what you ask them to do. That little worksheet, that little handout, they'll wash your board, they'll help you clean your desk, they'll clean the trash off the floor for you because they love you. I did all that. Was I a teacher's pet? What time is it? Hell yes, I was a teacher's pet. I love my teachers. And my teachers love me. So if they ask me, hey, Chris, you want to stay after school and help me straighten up my books? Yeah, I'll help you straighten up your books. I got an A in here. This is easy work. I'll do it. Anything they asked me to do, I'd do it. I would do it. But it wasn't until after the fact I realized, man, I didn't get what I needed. So my students like, OJ is on here. OG, hey, baby. What's going on, baby boy? OG's on here. Sorry, mama. I said hell. She didn't like it. She said, watch your words. OG's on here. OG can tell you, I did not play. I didn't care if you came from a single parent, no parent. I don't care where you came from. If you came from a children's home, I treat everybody the same way. You're gonna work in here. You're gonna work in here. I'm gonna push you because there are some dreams that you have, and I cannot help you accomplish those dreams if I just give you a handout. If I give you an easy route, if I let you coast through. No, life is not about coasting. Life is about working hard. And so that's what I wish my teachers would have done for me, including loving me, right? Including loving me. You can love me, but also push me. And so I knew that when I became a teacher, I was going to push my kids. I was going to push them. Amber Barnhill, she's on here. She can tell you, I didn't play because I was serious about learning. My kids didn't understand, like, why is this man so serious about learning? He's always talking about work, 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 work. That's why. Because I went to school and I had a good time, but I didn't learn a thing. I was just a good student, and I knew how to play the game, and I was nice enough that people enjoyed having me in their spaces. And I would tell my students, even if your teacher doesn't like you, they still have a responsibility to teach you. It's not about liking you. It's about doing what you were called to do. Your job is to teach me. So do that. Just do that. I would tell my students all the time, make sure your teachers earn their paycheck every day. If they don't like you, it doesn't matter. Make them work. Be the first one to raise your hand every day. Ask 1,000 questions. Because whether you ask the question or not, guess what? Their paycheck is still the same. That once a month paycheck, it doesn't change whether you ask a question or not, whether you pass the test or not. They're still getting paid. So if they're in the classroom, make them earn that check. Make them earn it. And so I never not wanted my kids to ask. Actually, I encourage my kids to ask questions. After like 5 minutes of like teaching, I'm like, okay, who has a question? Because guaranteed there is somebody in that room who is lost, who has a question, but they're afraid to ask. So if they didn't ask me a question, I just start asking questions. I'll start going up and down the road. Somebody's going to tell me something. I'm going to figure out if you have it or not. So if you don't ask me, I'm going to ask you. But I vowed, everybody in this room, by the time you leave, you're going to learn something today. What's that movie they say, oh, you're going to learn today? That's how it was every day. You're going to learn today. And when you come back, you're going to learn tomorrow. Because I'm getting paid. And so I'm gonna work for this paycheck. Miss Kathy Driscoll, hey, this is my other mother. I love her so much. She's a beautiful lady, yo. Kathy Driscoll, give her a shout out. We love you, Mama Driscoll. So Catherine Elliott says, so by pushing your students and grading them accordingly, do you think that you may be pushing them out of college opportunity if they don't rise to the occasion by them not having the grades? Grades to compete. So here's the thing. I never tested my students until they were ready to be tested. So let me repeat that for all my teachers that are watching. Good teachers give their students enough practice and feedback along the way. They know when the students have it. And when they know they have it, then they test them. If they don't have it, you keep letting them practice and then giving them feedback or what we call remediation or reteaching in ways that they can get it. But to give a kid a test on a Friday just because you have it scheduled and they haven't passed any of your classwork, they haven't passed any of your homework, does them a disservice and it does not motivate them. So by the time my students tested, I knew they were ready. So they were making the grades they needed to make to compete in college, but they were also learning the information they needed to learn at that level to be ready when they got to college. That was the difference. So I was making it challenging, but I wasn't making it difficult. Okay? If you understand what I'm saying. Difficult means it's so much, I don't know if I can do it. Challenging is you just pushing me to a level I'm uncomfortable with, but I can still get the information that you need me to have. And that's where I was. I was about challenging them, not making it overly difficult, right? And that's what teachers should be doing. Challenging students. Even, you look at third grade standards, you have kids in elementary school, they are expected to do a lot. So they're being challenged, or they should be challenged early. Way earlier than we were. I don't remember doing real work until I really got to the 4th grade. That's when I felt like I was in like real school. Kindergarten through 3rd, well, we were just having fun, We were just having fun, snack time, nap time, going outside and playing. There was some work happening, but those things I felt like I already had under my belt by the time I got there. But when I got to 4th grade, I felt like I started learning new information. Not now. These kids are learning information in the kindergarten, first grade. They're learning brand new information that we're not giving them at home. So no, I wasn't pushing them out of the realm of being competitive. They were still able to make the grades and the GPA they needed to make. But I also helped my students do well on standardized tests like the SAT to get into whatever college they wanted to get into, and compete and compete. Because we know when you get to high school, it's not just your GPA. You have to take standardized tests. And you have to do well on the ACT and the SAT to show that you're competitive. And that's why many of our kids they can graduate high in high school, high level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in terms of number, but then take the SAT and they can't make a competitive SAT to get into an Ivy League school or a D1 institution. So they have to go to community college or small college. But that limits their options because they weren't prepared. And that's not fair to students. Oh, let me give a shout out. Daryl Jackson, hey, thank you for watching. I see you, D. I see you, D. Love you, man. Miss Bennett, you back again. You back again. I was talking about you the other day to somebody. My sister's on here. Hey, Miss Jackson. John Brister, hey, what's going on? I see you. I see you. I see you. So listen, for all the parents, don't let your kids take a cakewalk. They don't need a cakewalk. They need to be pushed. There's another comment that says, as a parent, not an educator, I think some educators miss that mark. They test just because the schedule says so, which they do. They actually do it. It's on the calendar. I have to give it. And they feel like they have to give it. And I see so many kids struggle with this. Thankfully, not this person's. And that's because you're a good parent. You're a very active parent, and that makes a difference when you're an active parent, because you make sure you're informed on what's going on. So even if information or I'd say a test comes up, you know the test is coming, and you're helping your kid at home prepare for that test because you already know what the schedule says. Everybody doesn't have that advantage. Some kids don't have that advantage. They're kind of on their own, and they're doing it by themselves. And it's not good. And so this is the way that teachers really come in and accommodate some of those situations where kids don't have advocates, right? They can make sure by supporting students in areas where they are weak, strengthen those areas up so that those gaps are limited, and then test them. And then the kids get more confident as a learner, like, yes, I can learn. Yes, I can pass that test, right? That's what we really want. That's what we really want. And everybody doesn't understand that, even parents. And so that's why I always advocate for parents. Oh, man, my nephew's on here. If you all don't follow Johan Marquis Smith, he is phenomenal. Phenomenal. When I say a talent, when he spreads around the world, listen, be ready. I'm going to put his name in the comments. Go on Facebook, follow this kid. Or I say kid, he's my nephew. He's a grown man now. But this kid is super talented, and I want you to go out and support him. Follow him on all his social medias. Hit him up. Listen to his music. Music is wonderful. Great music. I love it. I listen to it all the time. So shout out to him, man. Thank you for watching, nephew. Love you so much. So yeah, Catherine. And the thing is, here's the thing. We surround ourselves with people like ourselves, right? So other parents that are active, other kids that are fully engaged and committed to school. We sometimes forget what's happening around us that's not like our current environment. So we get caught up in this whole middle class lifestyle. And what we do, everybody's doing. Everybody's not doing it. And how do you know that? Because you have people in your family who are not doing it. And honestly, they represent the majority of those people. We actually are the minority. We don't feel that way because we're surrounded by this cluster of this cultural mindset of people that have moved to a different level, right? But if we think about holistically, they don't live like us. They don't think like us. They don't have the access. That's the big word. They don't have access the way we do. And they can't get to schools the way we can with flexibility with our jobs and all that. I mean, many of us are still working from home, but we still have a job. There are some people who aren't working at all because of the kind of job that they have. So we really have to rethink what we're doing, right? Man, sorry, my nephew said go back to the kids. I'm going back to the kids. So for those of you that have young kids like I do that are getting ready to transition into school, really think about that. If your kids are making A's, make sure it's legitimate A or a legitimate B. It's not a grade based on behavior or because a teacher likes them. It's a kind A because you're a kind person. You're a nice person. That's not the kind of A you want. You want a well-deserved A, right? You want a well-deserved A. Okay. Um. So that's all I really have. I'm not gonna keep you guys long tonight. It's 9:33. So that's what I want to talk about. I will tell you I've got some resources coming out for biology in high school, 8th grade physical science, and 5th grade science. All of my tested subjects, especially in the state of Georgia. I've got an awesome consumable workbook. It's going to also be digital that I want to put out by the end of this month. I'm going to start posting samples of this on my social media. Check it out. Tell me what you think. For those tested subjects, it's going to be phenomenal. These are formative tasks for students, right? So teachers always want to know, well, here is the end goal for every unit. What does that look like in incremental stages? I'm showing it to you. I'm giving it to you, right? I'm giving you these small stages. Teachers, what your job is then is to go back and then teach to make sure your students can complete these tasks the way that it's laid out. If they can complete these individual topic tasks within the unit, they should reach your unit assessment. But I'm trying to get away of kids always taking these little 10-question multiple choice tests. That's out the window. Okay? Multiple choice tests don't always tell you what kids know and how they perform, but a student task will, because it embeds the opportunity for kids to explain their understanding to you. And that's what they need to do. If they can explain it to you, they can do it on a test. The test is going to be easy, right? So I'm excited about these unit tasks that I'm coming out with for, once again, biology, 8th grade science, and 5th grade science. Sorry, I didn't do 7th grade. I'm only doing a tested subjects right now because, as you know, the federal government did not give the state of Georgia a waiver for standardized tests. So I want to help get these students and teachers ready. So that's what I'm working on now. If you have any questions for me, always feel free to go to my website. It's fullyengage.wixsite.com/website. Okay, fully engage, no D on the end, fullyengage.wixsite, WIXSITE.com/website. All my contact information is there, including my social media accounts. If not, you can follow me on Fully Engage on Facebook. You can also follow me on Fully Engage on Instagram. Okay. Thank you guys so much. I want to give a big birthday shout out to Dee's mama. Happy birthday to you. Wish you the best. Stay safe during this pandemic, but enjoy your birthday. Dee, make sure you give your mama a big hug and kiss for me. If that's all, I want to let you all know, as always, stay safe, be blessed. Erlene, again, happy birthday. What, you're 25 now? 25, looking 25, looking good. Looking good, Erlene. I see you. Other than that, guys, have a good night. And I'll see you guys next Thursday, 9 o'clock. I have a guest next week, so I look forward to having you back. All right? Good night.